So I'm 21 years old, and at 20 I made my first £1,000,000. I haven't had a month where my income has gone under 15k. I'm genuinely grateful for the fact that, you know, I can go outside, I can buy something. I don't splurge my money, but I can buy something and not worry about my bank account going to zero, or, you know, not worry about spending too much. And I'm able to look after the people that have been looking after me their whole lives. And I'm genuinely grateful to be able to do that, because it's something that as a little kid I always dreamed of. So genuinely being able to make your dream a reality is so surreal, and I kind of want to help other people and teach you guys how I managed to do that. And I managed to do this mainly through the law of detachment. You have an outcome that you really want, but you place so much energy on obtaining this outcome, you forget to realize that the real change is internal and it's not an external thing. You cannot change an effect with an effect. You can only change an effect with a cause. And I feel like most of the world attempt to change an effect with an effect, and they unconsciously do this because of the programming that they've had as they were raised up. This isn't your fault, but I feel like it's your responsibility to be able to recognize these things and be able to adapt. And the way that you are able to snap out of this unconscious thought pattern is essentially just being aware of the fact that you're actually doing it. The way you detach from your desired reality is essentially by telling yourself that you are enough the way you are, and you already have the desired reality that you are expecting to get right now. Because a lot of people, what they're doing is they are basically waiting to be rich, to feel happy, to feel content, but then that makes you a slave to outcome and circumstance. You are allowing the fact that you aren't where you are yet to determine whether you feel happiness in this present moment, and that is attaching to the outcome. And the whole key to getting rich and making millions is detaching from a specific outcome. Everything around you in this world is operating at the level of cause, it's operating at the level of mind. Mind comes before matter. So essentially you need to be it before the world proves it to you, and you need to think it before it actually materializes. You need to detach from outcome and tell yourself that you are enough without the outcome actually materializing. The only way you can detach from a specific outcome is by operating as someone who already has it, operating as someone who is already making millions. You have to constantly tell yourself, I am making millions. Because every time you attach to an outcome, you are essentially escaping the present moment, which is the only place where everything exists truly. Because again, when you romanticize the future and what could be, you are doing so in the present moment. And when you are thinking about all the mistakes that have happened in the past and the reason why you aren't where you're meant to be, you're doing so in the present moment, although you're thinking about the past. You're thinking about both the past and the future in the present moment. So understanding that the present moment is the only thing that matters will allow you to detach from outcome, because you'll be able to constantly tell yourself that you are enough and you've achieved everything that you need to, and you are that person already, and the world proves that to you. I'm not saying don't work, because again, you need to work hard and you need to kind of do the things and do the steps required to get to your desired reality, but you need to stop placing such a heavy importance upon, okay, you know, I need to get there by this time, and if I don't get there, I'm not going to allow myself to feel happy. It's all about detaching from the outcome, but also not placing an emotional dependency upon seeing your reality change in order for you to feel happiness. I feel like the key to happiness is being content. The key to happiness is knowing that there's someone beyond your egoic self that exists within you, that is perfect, that is whole, that is complete, and is operating at a level at which you, your egoic self, and you as a human being cannot operate at. And it's kind of surrendering to the fact that everything already exists and allowing yourself to just be and live in the present moment. That is literally the only thing that matters. Now, when something negative happens, the best thing you can do is view it as a positive thing, because the negative things are still manifestations. So you need to act on those manifestations and transmute it into something positive. For example, if something goes left and it keeps failing and failing and failing, maybe the lesson that it's trying to teach you is to detach from outcomes, so you stop feeling the emotion as heavy. Because when you feel emotion as heavy, it stops you from performing the duties that you need to perform, and it directly hits your nervous system. And the nervous system is in charge of the performance at which you operate at on a day-to-day basis. If you have an unregulated nervous system, small things will trigger you. You'll be more reactive to the external world, and what that then causes is you to not be present and live in a place that is still, that is silent, that allows you to take the actions needed to achieve that desired reality. You need to detach from specific outcomes. You need to detach from egoic mindsets of I need to be right, I need to be wrong. When you learn detachment and living in the present moment and allowing yourself to feel whole and complete in everything you do, and giving yourself the grace and knowing that you're trying, and knowing that you're taking the right steps forward, and knowing that you are where you need to be, and time will collapse itself to respond to your inner nature, is all you need to know and all you need to keep repeating to yourself every day. Otherwise you can get caught up in the noise around you and comparison and internet culture, and those things can distract you from the fact that you are everything you need to be now. You just need to detach from outcome and detach from the egoic self in itself. Also detaching from the idea that things can go wrong, because of course things can go wrong, but when you identify with wrong, you create fear and you create more obstacles for yourself that stops you from actually taking the action, and you end up in a state of analysis paralysis where you're kind of analyzing every single thing and you don't take action, when most of the time the most important thing you need to do is just take action, and that is 99% of the work already done. You've already jumped over most of the hurdles and the obstacles by just taking action, and you're already ahead of a lot of people who are still waiting for confirmation externally without noticing that the only confirmation that they need to give themselves is internal, and it's the fact that they are where they are already. You guys can see I keep coming back to this point of you are where you are already. Like, I keep coming back to this point of you need to prove to yourself that you are the person that you say you are now, because now is the only time that anything could possibly be created or exist in. As I'm speaking to you, as you're watching this video, you are watching it in the present moment. By the time you double click 10 seconds back and watch this video, you are still watching the same section that just played in the present moment. So that's the illusion. There's an illusion of time, there's an illusion of you're behind, but you can't be behind when you exist in the present moment. Neither can you be ahead when you exist in the present moment. However, you can appear like you're ahead by portraying the fact that the past doesn't faze you and the future doesn't faze you. You're going to cross that bridge when you get to it, and the only time you can get to it is in the present moment. That is one scary trait to have, because people are going to wonder, why does nothing faze you? And your reality is going to bend to your will because you are allowing yourself to be. And reality itself is existing in a being nature. You are existing in a being nature with reality. You need to exist on the same vibration as reality for reality to understand your language. It's like reality is speaking English and you're speaking Spanish, English or Spanish. That was such a bad joke, but the universal language is presence. And as long as you stay present, as long as you be, as long as you allow yourself to exist, as long as you give yourself grace, as long as you stop comparing, as long as you just focus on the small steps that you need to take, you will reach that outcome. It's inevitable. There's literally a money back guarantee. You will achieve what you want to achieve if you just remain present, if you just give yourself grace, if you just be. Being is the most important thing, and it's a thing that a lot of people forget to do because they're identified with their mind. And the second you escape the identification with the mind and you allow yourself to exist in totality with the universe and reality itself, then it has no choice but to align to what you already are. And if you are operating as someone who already has everything, then 1 + 1 = 2.